Hello everyone to this new podcast called Charlton News Weekly, where we talk about Charlton Athletic news around just the club. We'll be starting off with the match preview and the match review from yesterday, as it's almost Christmas today, which is pretty fun. We'll be talking about the match between Blackpool and Charlton, and the match that would happen on Boxing Day, Charlton and Southend United. Let's first talk about the game yesterday against Blackpool, a team that is not really doing that good in League One so far. They are kind of struggling. I think they're in like 15th or 16th place in the thing, which is kind of sad for how good they really could be. I remember when they used to be in like the Barclays League. I remember that one time. I used to play like FIFA 10 back in the day. It was really fun to just score from half field, and because the goalkeeper was so garbage on the game. But going back to Charlton, on the 15th minute, Joe Aribo scores, and he scores a pretty decent ball too. He scores. We decide to, in the, I think it was the 63rd minute, Leon Best got injured, which was not good at all. Our injuries are starting to pile up, which I will talk about that later. It just doesn't look that good. So we bring on Harley and Grant for that. And he plays pretty decent for the rest of the game. I mean, he was a sub. We weren't really expecting him to do that much anyways. We were hoping that we could just close this game out, just play some good defense. Just please don't score. 73rd minute, this guy named George Lapsey, and I actually had no clue who this man was. George Lapsey. I had to look and research him, which I really don't remember right now, but he came in for Ben Reeves, which, I mean, hey, it was just a tactical substitution, just to get some guys some rest, and so, just in case we don't have a Leon Best type situation going on. And really, Leon Best, we'll also talk about that later, but Leon Best did kind of run a little bit too much in that game and just played a attacking sort of style, which he is normally a attacker playing, but he's playing midfield right now. He is normally a attacker, as I said before. I think he just played too aggressive on Blackpool, and he got injured during that way. So George Lapsey is in. 83rd minute, we bring off Marshall, one of our probably most speediest, or whatever you like to call that, on the team. He comes in for Kadashi. Well, I mean, Kadashi comes in for Marshall. And we decide, okay, now we're going to play a defense sort of style of the game. Everyone knew that when Kadashi comes on. He is a defensive player. He is listed on FIFA 18 and 17 as a defensive midfielder, which obviously he is a defensive midfielder. 86th minute comes in. A bad challenge by Josh McGintis. Pulls up the yellow card. We're like, okay, it was just a bad challenge. Well then, in the 90th minute of the game, I think it was Grandilet of Blackpool scores, and the game turns 1-1. I was very depressed about, not really depressed, but just kind of mad at how the substitutions came about. I mean, the Kadashi one was good, but I'm a little confused about the Lapsey situation. We could have easily brought on, like, nothing comes out of the top of my head right now, but also Josh McGintis getting the yellow card was pretty sketchy, as on the official lineup he is the starting attacker. I don't know why he's starting to tackle all of a sudden, but Grandelet scores in the extra time, 90th plus 1, making it 1-1, and the final score of the Charlton and Blackpool game is 1-1. Some of the things I have to take off that game is we should definitely start Joe Aribo. Joe Aribo is amazing at what he does and definitely should not be taken lightly. Sadly, I could see that being taken lightly, and it's not really good as we could see. Also, we should kind of keep Kadashi on. I think that's an opinion on my thing, but I think Kadashi is definitely a player, a defensive-minded midfielder that we need compared to the other midfielders. Knowing that we have so many midfielders out and so many other players out, well, you can see that by looking at our defense. Vic Steele is starting on right there, and for, I think it is, I cannot think of his name right now. What is his name? I don't really remember the name right now, but Sonny. I think it's Sonny or something like that. It's our right back. It's our right back. But he had to start in because I know he was injured. Ben Amos, obviously, he was starting for goalkeeper. And thinking about the goalkeeper situation, sadly, I do kind of think that our goalkeeper situation is a little bit worse than our attacking situation. Because our attacking situation, at least we got players contracted to that position. With our goalkeeper situation, I mean, it's a thing that we don't need to worry on this season, but we kind of do have to think about it this season a little bit. We have to at least think about it. With Ben Amos only being a 1-year contract, I mean, he's been good for the club. He's been really good for the club. But I think after this Ben Amos contract is up, I have a feeling we're just going to keep on loaning goalkeepers. I feel like this is going to be a consecutive process in this. Because we've done it last year with Rudd. This year we're doing it with Ben Amos. I don't even know what goalkeeper we're going to get next time. Because we've gotten a Norwich goalkeeper and now a Cardiff City goalkeeper. Which I feel like if we're going to go down that downhill thing, next thing you know, we're going to get an Exeter City goalkeeper. Which is not good at all. Like, who wants an Exeter City goalkeeper? Except Exeter City. For our defense in this Blackpool game, I mean, they played okay. As I was saying, Vic Steele was starting, so all I could say is pretty average. Sarp got a yellow card in it, but he played pretty okay until that. De Silva, I feel like he's one of those young players, along with Konza, that has that special talent in the club. De Silva is only 19, and a person on our subs page is also about that same age too. I definitely think De Silva looks like something special. I feel like he could be a Konza type player. He could be the next Konza, since Konza looks like he's probably going out. He looks like he's going to turn into a Lookman type player, which, if you remember Lookman, that happened last season. We don't talk about that. For our attacking situation and our midfielding, as I said, Joe Aribo should start. Johnny Jackson, hey, he's still producing, and he's really 35. I mean, we should definitely keep him in, but you should also think about his age. Our midfield of Marshall, Reeves, and Best for the game. As I said before, Best would be out against the game against Southend United. He will also be out for this holiday season, which is kind of really not good at all. Think about that for a second. We have a total of 8 to 7 players now injured. Most of them consist of the midfield / attacking position. Some of them include Billy Clark. That's all I could think of right now, but it's one of those situations that you're starting Vic Steele in defender, which is never a good idea. Marshall, I kind of have some mixed opinions about Marshall, but definitely, I think he should stay. I think he should stay on what position he's doing. Ben Reeves, I think he's pretty good too. Leon Best, I don't really like how Leon Best plays his game of football. I definitely think that Ricky Holmes should be taking that position. And also, that's the reason why Leon Best is starting that game. Because of Ricky Holmes being injured. There is still a chance that Ricky Holmes might be injured for the Southend United game, which is kind of sad because even Leon Best is injured too, and that does mean that we probably have to start Grant, which that's not really good. That's really not good at all. For attacking a situation, Magentis, we have nobody else. We have nobody else that could possibly take that position. I thought Billy Clark had that chance to take that position. But when it comes to this January transfer window, I got a few names that Carl Robinson should definitely think about choosing for his new striker. Some names like Ruben Reed, a name from Exeter City. He is 29. He has a pretty nice foot there. That's all I can really say about that. And another player of the name of Freddie Sears. He is a striker for Ipswich Town. He is 28. Those are the only two names that I have before recording this. But we definitely need a replacement for striker. Magentis doesn't do what our past strikers used to do, which that is definitely not good. We need a consistent scorer and then can always come in the clutch with that. Really, all Magentis have done so far is score on goals and get yellow cards. Who would want a striker like that? Really, I don't want any player scoring own goals, which is obvious. No one wants your team to score own goals. Just think about that. Think about if Watford in the Premier League just all of a sudden, oh yeah, we're gonna have that striker over there. Better thing is probably Benteke. If Benteke wants to go up there for Crystal Palace or whatever team he plays for anymore, if he wants to play for that team, oh, what you have to do for that? Okay, you have to score 3 own goals before you get on the team. Oh, that'd be easy as cake. You'll be in the Veterama League in seconds. You'll be in the National League in probably years, though, because that's probably hard to do. But I definitely think that our team is really shaky right now coming into the Southend United game, this Boxing Day. Looking at the game preview, I was actually shocked of how many players that Sky Sports put as injured for Southend. It's one player, and it's their goalkeeper. I'm so glad that Ben Amos is not being injured, or that would probably be it for us. We do not want to start DeLeon Phillips. DeLeon Phillips is a nice guy in real life, but he is not going to get us to the championship. Ben Amos is barely carrying us to the championship. Not really carrying us, but at least getting those nice goals going for that. Chris Solly, it also is going to be sidelined due to a calf injury. It's kind of hilarious looking at that because Leon Best actually made his position there too, and he got injured. That's pretty hilarious. Billy Clark remains out of action, and so does Forster Cassidy. That's also another midfielder that we definitely need. Billy Clark's out for action for the remainder of the season, so we can't even think about that. I just don't know what we're going to do with this 3 coming weeks. I feel like the South End United match could signify how our team's going to do for the rest of the season, possibly. For the rest of the season. I'm feeling if we cannot produce well in this South End United matchup, and South End United's like, I don't really know. Maybe 10th at best on the scores. Let's check real quick. League One, let's check that real quick. And it's going to be a very close, for a South End United matchup, it's actually pretty good for a Boxing Day. For South End United, they are 13th in the league. We are in 6th place, 1 point in front of Peterborough. No, I wonder what happened to Portsmouth. We are, just to think about it for a second. Shrewsbury is 11 points ahead of us because of consistent goal scoring and not knowing where in the world their team actually is located. I actually don't know where their team is located either. I think this team is not going to be looking so good over the next coming weeks, which sadly I have to make this podcast every single week. So we'll have to see how they do. At least. Well, talking about something else real quick. Wigan Athletic put up 7-0 against Oxford, which is really surprising. Will Gregg, I remember him from, forgot what the team was, but 7-0 hat trick for them. That's pretty interesting. Going back to Charlton though, their next games for Charlton will be Southend United, which will be tomorrow at 8. It'll be the boxing matchup, actually not tomorrow, but Thursday. Tuesday, not Thursday. Next, we'll be facing Wigan Athletic. That scares me to see. Because, remember, I was just talking about Wigan Athletic scoring 7 goals against Oxford. And think about what they could score against us. A team that's starting Vic Steele as a thing. But chances are, during that matchup, Ricky Holmes will return and possibly Chris Solly and Forster Cassidy. But that's not the point. Vic Steele might be still starting by that time. And that's not good. We need to construct a game plan for either Josh McGintis to run a false 9 or at least just attack. Don't just stand there in the backfield when you're an attacker. I feel like I see him almost every single time just standing in the backfield. He almost never scores. But, yeah. It's going to be a rough week for Charlton here. Carl Robinson must know this. If he wants to make it to the championship, he needs good players. If he wants to make it to the BPL, he must have really good players. Which, I don't think that's his mode right now. He just wants to get into the championship. He has said plenty of times that to get to this thing, he needs to win the championship. Or not the championship, League One. He cannot do that with a squad like this. This looks like watching Burley. And you know how bad Burley is doing right now. The good part is about the Charlton Athletic is that they have the biggest Well, at least in the last game against Blackpool, they have the biggest attendance of the week, which is definitely good. Our fans are still supporting after all this time, all these struggles, that we, the fans, are still supporting. The only problem is, I have a feeling if we stop supporting because of the protest and the Roland stuff, this team will not work at all. Some things that Carl Robinson should definitely think about. A new striker, which he's already talked about that. I think this is just my personal opinion. Putting Joe Aribo on the field as a starter. 3. Putting Hackett Fairchild on the bench. Keeping him there like a permanent place there until he develops into one of those great players. Then you put him on starting. In the FA Cup matchup versus Swansea, he was great to watch. He bagged in 2 great goals. It was great to watch one of our very young players, not called Konza, develop really good. We've had this happen before. And definitely, I think he could look into a Lookman type player. The only problem is, with a owner like Roland, sadly, we will not have him for very long. As what it comes with Konza, what's about to come with Konza. Some things that we should also definitely think about. Johnny Jackson's age. Come on, he's 35. We should definitely think about probably a replacement. But really, he is already being replaced by Forster Cassidy, which is pretty good by Carl Robinson to do. Ricky Holmes. He has definitely been struggling and definitely has not produced last year's numbers like we all thought he would do. But he is definitely still a reliable midfielder or outfielder or whatever you call it. But we should definitely keep him on. There's no point of putting him on the bench for a player like Hackett Fairchild. Hackett Fairchild is good, but I definitely think Ricky Holmes could put up better numbers than Hackett Fairchild can right now. Until Hackett Fairchild can prove more than just winning over a Swansea City 22 under team, then we'll have to see. I'm really hoping for Hackett Fairchild, really though. I'm not hating on him. I definitely think he could be a great player. I just hope that Carl Robinson does not put him out there immediately. At least in our newest one there. We've had De Silva out there, which is kind of weird. I've kind of been a little eerie on how how De Silva has been used on that, but I definitely think that if you put the right players out at the young time, like the young players, they could definitely improve in the long span of things. Some subs that we had on the bench against Blackburn. This is the closest one I have. We had Dion Phillips on the bench. We had Sarr on the bench. We have Lennon, and we had Jackson, Dudu, Horace Grant, and Best. Think about that one name for a second. Dudu. Joe Dudu. A loan from the Queens... Not the Queens Park Rangers. I almost said that. But the Rangers, like the other Rangers. From the Celtic rivalry. I definitely think we've used him so much that probably an unused gift will be used more than him. You know how much we've used him. And it's kind of sad that we did not sub him in during that Blackpool game. We put in Grant. We actually put in Grant. Then we put in Dudu, which is basically saying, which Carl Robinson is basically saying, we are not going to use you anymore. You may go back to the Rangers when your loan spell ends, which is kind of sad to see. Jackson's usually a sub, which is pretty good. He's 35 years of age, as I said before. He should definitely be a sub. Forster Cassidy is definitely a much better player than him. Going back to the goalkeeper situation, though, as I said before. How are we going to replace the goalkeeper again? We have to buy a goalkeeper. Come on. We just have to buy a goalkeeper for once. We cannot just keep on loaning goalkeepers till our funds go away. We just cannot do that. A bought goalkeeper is better than a loan goalkeeper because you actually get to keep the goalkeeper. That's right, Carl Robinson. You did not know that yet. That's not a shot at Carl Robinson. I'm just saying that please just buy a goalkeeper. Even if it's Ben Amos. Even if you just buy Ben Amos' contract out. Or his buyout contract clause if you have it. That would be much better than just getting another goalkeeper. Then you have to go through that whole chemistry thing again. And then we'll have to go through this. I just don't know how this is going to work for the rest of the season. I think we could definitely make it to the playoffs. But how well can we do in the playoffs? Can we actually make the championship? We'll just have to see. Well, that was my first episode on Charlton News Weekly. I hope you guys have a Merry Christmas. And I will see you in the next episode. Wow, this was fun.